The greatest danger in life is not failing, but living to please others. It's interesting how, so often, we spend years following paths we don't even recognize as our own. Maybe you've felt this before. The sensation of living a script written by someone else, without having the time to ask if the story makes sense to you. It's like dancing to a tune you didn't choose, constantly adjusting your steps to avoid stumbling under the critical gaze of others. Nietzsche challenges us to break free from this cycle. He saw life as a unique creation, something that must be shaped by our own hands. But how can you create something truly yours when the weight of others' expectations is always on your shoulders? This is where the great challenge lies. Freedom doesn't come from pleasing others, but from embracing the possibility of rejection. It's this acceptance that creates space for growth and, ultimately, for us to become who we truly are. Today, let's dismantle the traps of living to please others. Explore the courage it takes to be authentic. And above all, reflect on how to transform the fear of judgment into fuel to build a life that resonates with your essence. The path won't be easy, but by the end, you might discover it's never been more worthwhile to walk your own road. Sometimes life feels like a play where we follow scripts we never chose. With every act comes a new expectation. With every scene, there's a look of approval or disapproval. Nietzsche saw this clearly. He criticized the herd morality, the idea that society seeks to tame individuality, molding everyone to fit an acceptable pattern. But living like this comes at a high price: the abandonment of oneself. For Nietzsche, the strongest man is the one who dares to walk alone, yet walking alone requires a courage few are willing to embrace. Let's imagine an example that might sound familiar. Lucas loved music from a young age. He would spend hours at the piano, creating melodies that captured everything he felt, but couldn't put into words. When the time came to choose a career, his parents' voices were louder than the sound of the keys. "Law is a solid profession," they said. And so, he put music on the back burner. Years later, Lucas had a degree, a respectable job, but also a question echoing silently: when did I stop living for myself? Living for others is like rowing a boat that isn't yours. You pour all your energy into moving forward, tired arms, sweat dripping, breath heavy, but the destination is never yours. Worse still, sometimes you don't even know where you're going. It's the exhausting effort of rowing to meet expectations that often don't align with who you are. The water around you feels denser with each stroke, and the current of frustration grows stronger with every pull. And here's the question no one wants to face. If you could change one important decision in your life, what would it be? And more importantly, why would you change it? The answer usually reveals what we're trying to avoid: the burden of living a life that isn't truly ours. Because the greatest emptiness isn't failure. It's never having had the chance to be yourself. Become who you are. For Nietzsche, this phrase is not just a simple recommendation. It is a call to courage. It's not about uncovering some hidden essence, as if identity were something preordained, waiting to be revealed. On the contrary, it's a challenge to build a singular existence where every choice, every action, and every moment contributes to shaping who we truly are. In this sense, becoming who we are is more about creation than discovery. But how can we create something that so often feels crushed under the weight of others' expectations? From a young age, we're conditioned to believe there's a right path to follow, careers we should pursue, behaviors we must adopt, a life that should look good in the eyes of others. Nietzsche saw this as a prison disguised as comfort. It's like living in a house we didn't build, but we're handed the keys to with the promise that it's good enough, by urging us to create who we are. Nietzsche invites us to question these foundations. He understood that this would require immense strength, because every step toward authenticity inevitably means letting go of the false securities offered by societal labels. Imagine our identity as a raw block of marble. It's easy to accept the initial shape. It's solid, concrete, familiar, but to transform it into a work of art, we need to chisel away. This means removing, cutting, and rejecting pieces that once seemed like part of us. The process is not comfortable. Every strike of the chisel can feel like a loss, a risk, or even a mistake. But it's the only way we emerge. not as something that was always there, hidden, but as something we were brave enough to create. It's in this hard work that Nietzsche's concept takes hold. Becoming who we are means, paradoxically, destroying who we thought we were to build something that finally shines with the light of authenticity. Now, a question that lingers. If no one were watching, no friends, family, colleagues, or strangers, what would you do with your day? This reflection forces us to confront how much of our routine is shaped to meet external expectations. Nietzsche challenges us to imagine a life without an audience, where every action and every choice is made not to please but to affirm who we truly want to be. Authenticity, then, is not something we stumble upon by chance. It's a deliberate act of rejecting what is easy, safe, or expected. It's the work of a lifetime, where every decision brings us closer to, or further from, the person we have the potential to become. Rejection is one of the deepest fears in the human experience. We want to belong, to be accepted, to feel valued by others. But as Nietzsche observed, pleasing everyone means denying yourself. He saw rejection as an inevitable byproduct of authenticity. When we dare to live according to our own truths, we inevitably disturb those who prefer the comfort of conformity. For Nietzsche, genuine freedom requires courage, not just to make bold choices, but to face their consequences. Imagine someone who decides to step off the conventional path and pursue a passion that doesn't fit the expected mold. The cost of this choice is often high. Judgmental looks, dismissive comments, the feeling of isolation. Yet, it is in this space of rejection that true liberation can be found. After all, those who strive to please everyone will never truly be free. Rejection can be compared to the wind against a sailboat. At first, it feels like an obstacle, something trying to hold us back. But for those with courage, this wind becomes the force that propels movement. The same wind that intimidates is what gives direction and speed to the boat. In this way, every critique or judgment faced can serve as fuel to keep sailing toward a life that truly makes sense to you. Nietzsche didn't romanticize the pain of rejection, but understood it as the inevitable cost of authenticity. Choosing to live your truth may mean going against the current, losing relationships, or letting go of opportunities. But what holds more value? Holding on to what binds us or embracing what sets us free? When was the last time you chose your truth, knowing you'd face criticism? Maybe it was something small, like dressing differently or disagreeing with a popular opinion. Or perhaps it was something bigger, like turning down a job that seemed ideal to others but not to you. These choices, big or small, shape who we are and remind us that, while rejection may sting, it will never hurt as much as living a lie. Judgment is like a shadow that grows over time, sometimes small and insignificant, other times so dense it seems to swallow everything around us. Nietzsche warned of the danger of living under the weight of that shadow, when he said, "And those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music." He captured the essence of a universal struggle, the battle between the freedom to be yourself and the fear of being misunderstood. But what is judgment if not a silent prison? There are no visible bars, but we feel their weight when we hesitate to act, speak, or simply exist as we truly are. From an early age, we learn that acceptance is a currency, something we earn through obedience, conformity, and the sacrifice of our authenticity. Every choice we make is influenced by the fear of how it will be perceived. A job we don't want, an opinion we keep to ourselves, a dream we abandon. The power of judgment lies in its ability to shape our identity. When we live in fear of what others think, we begin to see ourselves through their eyes. It's like trying to build a house with rusty tools and faulty measurements. The foundation will always be unstable. Others' judgment works like a broken mirror. It never reflects who we truly are, yet we persist in using it as a reference. Nietzsche understood that living to please others means carrying a burden that was never ours to begin with. Imagine someone holding on to a dream for years, afraid to share it with the world for fear of criticism. What feels like self-protection, hiding from judgment, is, in reality, the greatest harm we can do to ourselves, because the regret of never having tried is always deeper than the discomfort of facing judgment. And yet, the fear of displeasing others paralyzes us. We become prisoners, not because we were put in cages, but because we accept the weight of chains that aren't ours to carry. Nietzsche calls us to the courage of dancing to our own music, even if no one else can hear it. He reminds us that freedom is not the absence of judgment, but the strength to live in spite of it. How many times have you stopped midway because you heard a critical whisper, not from others, but from your own mind? How often have you abandoned your true self because the reflection you saw in others' eyes made you doubt your worth? These questions don't have easy answers, but they hold important truths. Every time we stop being who we are, we surrender a part of ourselves to this invisible prison. The judgment of others will never go away. It's like the wind, always present. But as Nietzsche teaches us, it doesn't have to hold us back. It can be used to propel us forward, like the wind filling a sail and moving a boat ahead. Freedom doesn't lie in avoiding judgment, but in choosing to move forward. Despite it, Nietzsche believed that life itself doesn't come with inherent meaning. There is no preordained destiny or absolute truth waiting to be discovered. This idea might seem daunting, but it's also incredibly liberating. If nothing is written, everything can be created. He once said, "He who has a why can bear almost any how." What he meant was that finding a purpose, even in the face of adversity, changes the way we confront the world. Society often offers us ready-made purposes, like items on supermarket shelves. Financial success, social approval, stability. But do these goals truly fulfill us? Often, these choices leave us feeling empty because they don't reflect who we are. Nietzsche proposed something different. He spoke of creating a purpose that isn't dictated by the world but arises from within, something he called Amor Fati, or the love of fate. Not in the sense of passively accepting circumstances, but of embracing life as it is, including its pain and challenges, and finding beauty in it. Creating a purpose is like planting a tree. You choose the seed, a dream, an ideal, something that resonates with what's most authentic in you. At first, it may seem insignificant, a small effort in a vast expanse, but with patience and dedication, that purpose begins to grow. It weathers storms, endures droughts, and even faces the indifference of those who don't understand why you're planting it. Over time, however, it takes root, strengthens, and one day you realize that the shade of that tree is the refuge you've always sought. Nietzsche invites us to look at our lives and ask, if the only person who needed to approve of your choices was you, what meaning would you give to your existence? The answer to that question is what separates a life lived authentically from one lived on autopilot. A purpose doesn't need to be grand in the eyes of the world. It can be found in small gestures like helping someone, cultivating a hobby, or creating something that holds value for you. What matters is that it resonates with what you believe in, with what makes sense to your heart. When a purpose is genuine, even hardships feel lighter, because you know you're living something that's yours, not something imposed. Creating your own purpose is an act of courage and love. It's the decision to say, I choose the meaning of my life, even if the world doesn't understand. Nietzsche reminds us that this choice is the foundation of a freedom that cannot be bought, given, or negotiated. It can only be created, like an artist patiently crafting the masterpiece of their life. Living for others is like residing in a house built by someone else's hands. At first glance, it seems solid, comfortable, even safe. But over time, we realize that every wall, every door, every window was placed to meet expectations that weren't our own. Nietzsche reminds us that this house isn't ours. He challenges us to tear down these structures and, from the rubble, build something that truly reflects who we are. This construction, however, is no easy task. It demands that we face our deepest fears, judgment, rejection, isolation. Yet, it offers something no external approval can ever provide: freedom. Because being free isn't about the absence of hardships or criticism. It's about the courage to stand by our choices, even when they displease or challenge others. Nietzsche teaches us that life doesn't come with a manual or a predefined purpose. It is an open field, waiting for us to decide what to plant. It's up to us to transform every moment into an act of creation, giving meaning to what feels empty, and finding beauty even in imperfections. It is in this act, in the conscious choice to live for ourselves, that we find authenticity. Life is too short to live someone else's dream. This isn't a cliché, but an urgent reminder that time is finite and precious. Every day we postpone our truths to please others. We give away a part of ourselves that we may never get back. If tomorrow never came, could you say that you lived with courage? That your choices, no matter how difficult, reflected who you truly are? Nietzsche doesn't offer easy answers, but he invites us to this reflection. And perhaps the greatest freedom lies precisely there, in the ability to look at yourself and feel, even in silence, that you fully lived your own story.